Hey, welcome to Key Talk. I am your host, Coach Amber J, your go to CEO, life coach, wardrobe expert, here to help you unlock the keys to success, work life balance, so that you can have more fulfillment without burnout. On here, on Key Talk, we are going to dive into some deep, powerful conversations where we inspire you to shift your perspective and become the master key of your own life. We'll explore how to release past pain, trauma, and embrace your life with purpose while serving others on their path to greatness. So, if you guys are ready to dive into this deep, powerful conversation and elevate your life in style and confidence, you're in the right place. So, go grab something to drink, grab your notebook, your pen, because today we are going to have a powerful conversation. But before I get started, go like, share, and make sure you invite someone. Make sure you engage with me. Let me know how you're feeling. Drop in the comments where you're located. As you guys, or some of you may know, we are in the Las Vegas, Nevada area. We actually, here in this moment, we are at Nevada Partners at the Westside Incubator Community Center. So make sure that you guys come down. This is actually a live audience. So if you guys want to come down and actually have an engaging conversation here on Key Talks, you can definitely come do that at Nevada Partners at the Westside Community Incubator. Okay. But let me know where you guys are. I would love to go back and look at the comments and see where people are tuning in at, so we can engage and I can see where you guys are. Maybe come to a city near you soon. Also, I want to recap last week. Hopefully you guys catch episode 3 last week with the amazing Sequinda Coach with Me. She came onto the show and we had an amazing conversations. 2 coaches, 1 vision, sharing some insight, talking about our stories, what got us started, what inspires us, and why we do what we love to do. And that is serve others on their path to greatness while helping them reach and see their own greatness. So yes, I hope you guys check that episode out. Drop in the chat a thumbs up if you got to see last week's episode. If not, it's not too late. Go after this live show, go and watch the other one. Go get gems. These are free resources available to you. And when you have 2 coaches out on one couch, gems were definitely dropped. So make sure you go grab them. But today we are going to get into a really, really powerful conversation. And I went hiking this morning. It's been about, months since I actually went to my sacred hike. And as I was able to go hike, I was like, what do I want to talk about? What do I want this episode to be about? And I already had one written out, but I didn't feel like that's what I wanted to share. So I got some downloads as I was on the top of the mountain. And this last week, there's been a lot of conversations, a lot of remembering or going back and reflecting, and a lot of frustration. And so I thought this would be a perfect time to have these conversations as we're ending Q3, starting into Q4. I'm going to help you drop some keys on release the keys to forgiveness. Now, I know a lot of you are asking, why would I forgive someone that hurt me? They don't deserve forgiveness. What do I need to forgive? I don't need to forgive anyone. I'm good. Well, the reality is a lot of us are holding on to things that literally is all about forgiveness or unforgiveness. And I feel like as a coach, that is like my specialty. If you work with me, we are going to start there. And I'm dropping some keys for you guys that this is a place to start. The best way to enter a new season is to let go of the past season, and myself included, right? There's some things in this past season that I want to forgive. I want to let go, and I want to be propelled into my next. And so in order to do that, there's some things that you have to do, not only reflecting on what went well, what went bad, but what do I need to let go of so I have room for my next. And so that's what today is going to be about, is the keys to forgiveness. And I want to start with just asking, what does forgiveness mean? What is the root of that? What does it mean to forgive? We hear this word thrown around, but do we really understand what it means? And last night I actually watched a clip of mine that I did for a speaking engagement or a workshop, and it was learning to forgiveness means to let go with no account, right? Letting go with no account, no memory, right? When I see someone that harmed me, I can look at them and have no feelings, right? No reaction or no thought back in my head like, look at him. I remember when he did this, right? Forgiveness is letting go with no accounts, right? Like not remembering what they did. And you're like, how can you do that? I can forgive, but I'm not forgetting. Like if I forget, that means that they can do it again. Well, that's incorrect, right? And so, what I tell people is forgiveness is letting go at no account, but setting boundaries up, right? To be wise as a dove, but gentle, and be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. That statement, that scripture really means being discerning, right? I can still be around people, but now I know how to handle you. I know where to place you. I know that I can't put my heart in your hands because you're liable to hurt me, right? So I'm going to put boundaries up to guard myself. I'm going to put boundaries up so that I will not be hurt again. But boundaries really mean me allowing someone into my space, but then me also saying, I no longer want you in my space, and being able to tell someone, okay, I'm closing the door. You no longer have access to me in this way. And that's what boundaries is. I think sometimes we think boundaries mean cutting people off, blocking them. Those are not boundaries, those are walls. And when we operate from a space of walls, we no longer have connection with people. And as humans, we need connection. We need to be able to have relationships with other people. And if you see, especially now in this generation, a lot of people are operating from no boundaries into from walls to no boundaries. And what that looks like is you got all these friends in one season, you're connected to all these people, you may be in relationship with people, and then all of a sudden you get hurt, you get triggered, so now you cut everybody off and you go into an isolated place, and you're like, no new friends, I don't like people, I don't trust people. And so that is a series where people go from walls to no boundaries, right? Walls to no boundaries. And the reality is, when you learn how to implement boundaries, you don't have to cut people off, right? You don't have to go long periods of time isolated and lonely. You can still have relationships with people, but now I know how to deal with them, right? I'm not going to trust people with my vision or sharing my vision when I know that they're not in a good place to receive it and they can't reciprocate it. So that's what learning how to operate in boundaries. But in order to even get to that place, you have to be able to learn to forgive. You have to be able to let things go so that you can have more room in your life and in your heart and in your mind to be able to operate from that place. I did a workshop a couple of years ago and on the gifts of forgiveness, because it is a gift to forgive. So one of the things is that when we forgiveness is really not about the other person, it's about you. You're drinking poison hoping the other person dies. The reality is, if I'm drinking poison, I'm going to die. And what is the poison? Anger, bitterness, hate, hurt, frustration, self hate, right? And then we walk around with all of these feelings and we can't receive the gift of forgiveness. And on the other side of that gift, it's joy, it's peace, it's love, it's passion, it's purpose, it's resilience, it's integrity, right? And so, in order to receive something, you have to be willing to let it go. And that's really what forgiveness is. So, in this steps, I'm going to share with you the keys to forgiveness. And I came up with an acronym under keys, because y'all know we got the keys and I want you to become the master key of your own life. So if this is good to you guys, if you're resonating with this, make sure you drop some keys in the comment. Or maybe you're like, Coach, I need you to elaborate. Like, go back. I need to understand a little bit more. Put put a number 2 in the chat so I can know to go back and we can have a conversation, because this, I feel, is the root. If you can learn the power of forgiveness, you will uproot so much pain, so much hurt that is blocking you from walking into your purpose. So we're going to start with the keys, the acronym, and the first one is K, and it's knowledge. Understanding the impact of holding on to resentment. Let me rephrase it. Let me restate that. Knowledge, understanding the impact of holding on to resentment. When we hold on to resentment, when we hold on to anger, it does something to our hearts, right? We begin to look at people and we can't trust them. We begin to connect. We can no longer connect to people, right? We're not building real relationships any longer, right? We only see surface because we're holding on to resentment to what someone did to you at 12, right? I know that I've had conversations with individuals and they're like, oh, I remember my sixth grade teacher did XYZ. You still remember that? It's time to go ahead and forgive. It's time to let go. And so that's number one. The key K is for knowledge, understanding the impact of holding on to resentment. Number or E stands for empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in the shoes of others to foster compassion. So I'm going to share a quick story about empathy and the reason that I was able to embrace and understand the power of forgiveness. So I had an incident with my ex-husband, and a situation happened, and I remember at that moment it was a tragic situation that took place. And I remember him calling me and he's like, hey, so and so passed away. I'm like, okay. Now, this is what happens when you hold on to resentment, right? He tells me his ex passes away. And I'm like, okay, why are you calling me? Like, sorry, right? And in that moment, I had resentment, right? I was angry. Like, you're telling me about your ex who is partially the reason why we're now divorced. Like, I don't know why you're calling me, but I knew why he was calling me because he needed me in that moment. And so I took a moment and I was able, two choices in that moment, to either be angry and continue to be angry, or to have empathy, because not only was this his ex, this was also the child of, this was also the mother of his other two children, and one which I helped raise, right? So in that moment, I literally was like, let me get out of my own feelings, my own hurt. What do you need right now, right? And he needed me, his kids needed me, right? Their mother just passed away. So in that moment, I was able to empathize with them and taking myself completely out of the dynamic, because had I stayed in that, I would have been still angry and mad, right? And in that moment, I realized the power of forgiveness. Because I was able to empathize and because I was able to release that resentment, I was able to show up for him and his children in the moment of the most tragic time of their lives, right? And so I then began to realize, wow, there is power in forgiveness, right? Because now, instead of me being angry, I'm able to be present and able to help. I'm able to support. And I went and met with him and I was able to hold those babies and let them know that they are loved, that they're not forgetting. And even though I'm not their mother and they just lost their mother, I was able to nurture them as a mother in that moment. That gave me a lot of emotions right there. But there's sometimes that we're holding on to things when we need to be used for something greater, that we block our blessings when we're holding on to unforgiveness. So the next one is yield, right? Yield, let go of grudges and be open to healing. In that process, I was able to yield and I was able to let the situation go. My feelings for the individual, my feelings towards my ex, I was able to yield in that moment and realize it's not about me. This is not about me, right? This is bigger than me in this moment. And I cannot be selfish in this moment and only think about me, because though the dynamic was not ideal, those kids still are connected to my children. And I had to be willing to yield on that and be like, okay, let me let this go and let me deal with what's happening in this moment. And I'm so very grateful that I was able to do that. Not only did it unlock something in myself, it unlocked something in those children, it unlocked something in my ex, and it created a space where we were all able to deal with this situation at hand. The next one is support. Surround yourself with positive influences and seek help if needed. So y'all know, in that moment, I definitely reached out to my support system. I was on the phone with my good friend at the time that was a therapist, and I was like, "Listen, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I know I have to do this." It brought up a lot of triggering emotions for me as a child, dealing with a parent who passed away. Some of you know my mother passed away. So all of these emotions showed up for me in that moment, and I needed support. I needed a village to surround themselves around me to be able to deal with that circumstance and that situation at the time. And so doing so, had I not been able to forgive, have I not been able to really take a step back and empathize and release resentment, I wouldn't been able to be present for them. And not only that, I was also, because I have been able to learn to forgive and to open my heart to be able to receive and deal with people, I had support around me. See, the thing about unforgiveness is that it blocks us from having the things that we need in our lives. It blocks us from being able to attract the people that we need in our lives. It stops us from being able to take the next step that we need to move forward in our journey to be the greatest versions of ourselves, right? And so a lot of times we keep asking, why do I find myself in these cycles? Why do I keep going back to the square one? Why is this test or this test keep coming up? Because you never passed the test. You didn't get the lesson, right? For me in that moment, had I not understood and learned the power of forgiveness, as a coach in this moment, I teach this all the time. I teach that the moment you choose to release something, you receive something. Forgiveness is a gift. In order for me to be able to release that situation and the circumstances, it allowed me to receive love. It allowed me to receive peace. It allowed me to have joy, right? Prior to this situation taking place, I was angry, I was bitter, I was mad, I was frustrated. Again, this is a woman who interfered with my marriage, right? Not just my relationship, but with my marriage. So had I held on to that, I wouldn't receive what the gift of forgiveness really is to let go allows me to receive something greater. And doing that, it allowed me to embrace something greater. So the keys for today is unlocking forgiveness. And I hope that what I shared with you today is something that can help you unlock some keys within yourself, give you time to sit back and reflect. And I'm just going to go back over the keys. The first one is knowledge, right? Understanding the impact of holding on to resentment. How is resentment impacting your life today, right? What are you holding on to that's blocking you from having something else? Two, empathy. Put yourself in the shoes of others to foster compassion. Sometimes we just have to put our feet in other people's shoes. And going back to that, I remember thinking, man, how would I feel if someone was able to process my children or deal with my children and they didn't, right? I was able to put my feet in her shoes because I was a mother. I am a mother. I have children, and I would want someone to take my babies and care for them and hold them and love on them. So I was able to foster that compassion and put myself in her own shoes because I'm a mother, right? Yield. I also was able to step back for a moment and really just sit back and figure out what was going on. So yield, let go of grudges and be open to healing. Lastly, support. Surround yourself with positive influences and seek help if needed. I even this week I had to reach out to some people and I'm like, I'm struggling. I need support. I am in a conflicted situation and I need an outside voice. I need someone that I can trust, that can support me, that can give me insightful wisdom and maybe help me see this bigger picture because I'm in the picture and I can't see the frame. And so that is what the power of forgiveness. If I didn't constantly do this on a regular basis, I would not receive the gift of relationships, of healing, of love, of joy, of peace, because I realized the impact of holding on to grudges, of holding on to unforgiveness. And so I hope you guys got some major keys from this. If you guys are in a place and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. This is too much for me. I have a 7-day forgiveness workbook. Reach out to me and I will send you that workbook because I know how important and impactful it is to understand how it is to forgive. Drop some keys in there. Do you guys have any questions? I have a small audience here. Does anyone have a question or a comment?
We've got some shout outs from Gary D. James and Yo-Yo's Closet.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do I need the mic?
It's okay. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I'll repeat your question.
So when you said that you have to forgive and forget, like what if it's like I do forgive this person genuinely, I do, but I just can't forget what they did to me, even if I don't really feel any negative towards that person, but I still remember how I felt when that person did that certain thing to me.
So your question is, how do you forgive and forget when you're reminded of what they did to you and how it impacted you?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of goes back to what I said, right? Holding on to those memories are a trigger of, or is an indicator that there is still some unforgiveness, right? Meaning like you may have forgave them for the situation, right? But I didn't forgive how it made me feel. So maybe there's still some areas of forgiveness that you may need to release that you haven't released. You just released the overall picture. And in my 7-day workbook, I talk about forgiving like forgiveness is the trigger, the smell, the location, the scent, right? The time, right? Where was I in my own life in the space that it's impacted me, or what is it? Why is it triggering me so much in my life right now that I can't let that go? So it's just really an indicator that there's still some areas of forgiveness that you may need to work on. You probably forgave them as an individual, but maybe go a little bit deeper, right? Ask a little more questions like, why is it triggering me? Why is the pain so deep? Because sometimes what really is happening is it's a trigger to something that happened before. So you're just seeing the person, but this happened to you before in another situation and the feelings are the same. So you may need to go a little bit deeper. It may not be that person, it may be the situation, and it's happened multiple times, right? Let's say, for instance, you have 5 siblings, right? And every time you get a brand new pair of shoes, one of your siblings wear your shoes, and then now you're an adult and you get into a situation or a friendship and they borrow your shoes and you like, bro, I don't like when people wear my shoes, but it's because the trigger of like, I had to always share my shoes. That's a way outlandish explanation, but hopefully that makes sense. So I think it's more of just really going a little bit deeper, right? Because we can forgive a situation, we can forgive a person, but did we really go in and say, what they did to me did this to me and it impacted me this way and it's affected me this way. I need to forgive these things. So thanks for that. Was a great question. Hopefully that answered the question. Anyone else have questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is there any signs that can indicate or let you know that you did forgive and forget?
Yes. So the question is there any signs or indicators that you have truly forgiven? So I'm going to share a situation. I recently encountered someone that broke my heart. And when I seen them, I felt nothing. I didn't feel anger. I felt peace. I felt peace because I was like, man, I'm not even affected by you at all. Like, I didn't get angry. I didn't get happy. I just felt peace. And so that is a sign, like, whatever work you did, it worked. And this person no longer, and I spoke to him like, hey, how you doing? And kept it pushing. No feelings, no ill will, no nothing. It was such a peaceful feeling. And I had to go home and be like, dang, girl, you really forgave him. Like, your heart is really healed again, right? I felt nothing besides peace. So I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel a little bit of like, look at him, you know. But that's the indicator when you can just see a person and feel peace. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have any questions in the comments, I will definitely get back to you. But hopefully, this episode did something for you. Make sure that you actually do the exercise and do the work. Let's forgive the last 3 quarters, right? If you're not where you want to be, or there's some things that you held on or you got feel guilty about, go ahead and forgive yourself. Do the work, release this quarter, go into quarter 4 because we still have quarter 4 to knock it out, right? Still, you can still get your wins. And so go ahead and release quarter 3, all of the first 3 quarters if you need to. And go into the quarter 4 powerful, knowing that you can have everything that you desire. It's all within you, right? What's holding you back from you is you. So release yourself, feel good about yourself, and remember that you're on a journey. This is, what did Nipsey say? We on a marathon, right? So victory lap continues. Continue on your path to greatness. If you need support, if you need help, I'm here for you. 2 shout outs really quick. There is a 5-day reset challenge that I'm a part of. It's on my page. I'll actually put it in these comments. It's not too late to join and register. It's a 5-day reset mindset, so you can get focused, so you can release some things. We had our first night last night. It was powerful. So make sure you get connected to the things that can help you and support, like the S represented in keys. You need support. And it's a free support at that, right? It's a village. You need a village of people. Number 2, Becoming Her. I am working on a workshop. It's going to be a 4-week virtual workshop called Becoming Her, starting October 15th. More details to come. But there's no reason why you can't be the greatest version of yourself. You just have to be willing to do the work and be willing to release the things that are keeping you from stepping into that her, instead of stepping into her. So again, always, if you want a 15-minute consultation, book your free 15-minute consultation on the website at coachamberj.com. I am here for you. Hopefully this episode was amazing. Stay tuned and continue to journey with us on this amazing path to greatness. Until next week, I'll see you again.